Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network. I'm your host, Fred Astaire, joined as always by Tyler Hicks, and we are here to overreact to what we saw in Week 14. Tyler, busy time of year for me, so we are going to be quick and efficient today. We might be skipping some of these games, but we can't skip what we saw on Thursday Night Football with the Detroit Lions, who got a 34-31 win over the Green Bay Packers. Most people had the Packers at plus 3.5. A lot of people at my work, they bought the Lions late at -3. So a lot of pushes and a lot of Packers money. But a big win for a team that, we said, hey, with all those defensive injuries, their window might have closed, but they made another statement against a quality team. What did you take away from that Thursday night game?
Yeah, I mean, it was not a statement win for Detroit, I would call it. I mean, it was good for them to pick up the win. To be completely honest, Brett, there was so much going on yesterday. Thursday night just seems like it was so far away.
And doesn't it? Especially with the college football, too, on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, all of those games going on. Then Selection Sunday. I mean, there was just so much going on. So it just seems like it was so far away. But, yeah, it was a good win for Detroit. Green Bay, I'm not going to take much away from it. It's a loss to a divisional opponent. And between those three teams, Fred, I think Minnesota's a fraud, but they fit this too. Those three teams have lost one game outside of their division since October. So they're probably three of the four best teams in the NFC. I'm not going to sit there and downgrade Green Bay for the loss, so I don't take much away from it. Not going to upgrade Detroit very heavily either. Did see the report that...
To be fair, can't we undo the downgrade from the week before, though, with all those injuries?
I didn't really downgrade him. I said we had to see.
I said Philly's going to win the NFC. Philly's this and that, and
That's why we call you Mr. Overreaction.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah, but can't always overreact, Fred.
All right, and that's why we're here. And I thank you for balancing me out. A reminder, the show's brought to you by fanspeak.com. Head on over to Fanspeak. Of course, you'll get access to Tyler and I's plays. And if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, you get all of the great content we've been putting out. Andrew and Justin doing a great job with those battle royales. Tyler, you're part of the prop party, of course. Jamie, you and I do our NFL picks tomorrow. And then the sibling showdown all going on here at fanspeak.com. Tyler, let's talk about the Vikings and the Falcons. Your guy, Sam Darnold, threw for 347 yards and 5 touchdowns. Tell me how much he sucks now.
I mean, we talked about this before, Spread. He wasn't getting any credit for beating Atlanta. He did.
Who does he have to beat?
We just talked about them also, that they haven't lost a game since October outside of the division. They're the one loss. It was to the Rams since October. But it's just one of those things, Fred. Like, when you look at the NFC, do you really think they can compete in the playoffs? Could they win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold?
I don't know about a Super Bowl, but they can definitely compete in the playoffs. They definitely can make the NFC Championship game. You don't think that this team could take out Philadelphia, Detroit, Green Bay, whoever the loser of the NFC South is coming out? I mean, they're alive.
I think they can win round one. I'll say that.
I think they can win round 2 as well.
I'm not going to give them that. I think they are in the same exact spot as the Steelers.
All right. 2 more questions from this game. Let's just assume that I'm right and they make the NFC Championship game. They have to bring Sam Darnold back, right?
You would think so, but if the price is too high, I mean, at what number are you like, I'm not giving him that much money?
You could just franchise him.
Yeah. But at the same time, if he's like, I don't want franchised, then somebody else is going to give me a boatload of money to leave. Giants.
If you're franchised, you don't get that option.
Yeah, very true. But you could also just say, I'm not playing.
He's not that. He doesn't have that much cachet.
He doesn't have that much power, but in a quarterback-driven league, he could demand his money before he plays.
I have 2 more questions for you before we move on. So let's just say this fun hypothetical scenario I'm dealing with. Could the Vikings turn around and get a first-round pick for J.J. McCarthy in next year's draft?
I think they could, but I don't think they are going to trade him. I think
maybe they would just run and have an elite backup.
I think they're going to go to him regardless, Fred, to be completely honest.
All right. Well, we'll discuss this again when we're previewing the Vikings NFC Championship showdown. On the other side, Kirk Cousins threw for 344 yards, but that's why statistics can be deceiving.
Couldn't this be one of those conversations where it's like, well, they have to keep Darnold, like they've done so well, and 3 years down the line, they've went to McCarthy and they've won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you there were Chiefs fans back then that were going, we can't go away from Alex Smith. He's made the playoffs the last 3 to 4 years. He's made, well, I think he got to a conference championship once, or it was a divisional round. And they're like, we're just going to throw this rookie in there. And now they look back on that and go, wow, that was a great decision. Like, I don't want to overreact to
Darnold's
the 1 year.
Say what you want about him, but other than throwing the interceptions, he's a lot more talented. He's a better athlete, and he's got a bigger arm. I mean, he's got everything you need to be a quarterback. It was just the interceptions that were always bringing him down, right? Like white Jameis Winston.
I mean, I guess so, but I still think McCarthy's a better player.
He's done that. All right. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. Got throws for 347 yards and 5 touchdowns, and you want a rookie that had one good preseason game. And Kirk Cousins. Those are the emptiest 344 yards I ever saw. Do they need to go to Michael Penix?
I mean, they're probably done anyway because the Bucs are back to playing winning football. If they want a chance, I mean, I guess you can try and spark the offense with Penix, but I just don't see it. Their defense isn't that good. They're just a fantasy team, and Kyle Pitts has ghosted the team again, so it's just Drake London and Bijan. And Darnell Mooney and Ray McCloud. I don't think that's really going to help you. So, I mean, go to Penix. That's pretty much your only option at this point.
I mean, how far does Kyle Pitts fall in best ball next year? You guys better not be drafting him ahead of George Kittle again.
We had this conversation on the live show last night, Spread, and we were talking about Bryce Young, and I was like, I couldn't sit there and say he's the worst prospect ever because he's not one of these guys that just coasted through college, like just on pure athleticism. Yeah. And the conversation got to Kyle Pitts, and I said, you know what? That's the perfect guy that fits this conversation. He's a big tight end that was fast, that was able to run past all the linebackers and the safeties. Everyone thought he was going to be this generational talent. Then he gets to the league, game sped up. He can't do anything. So he was one of the guys that coasted. And I think that's all he is. He was just a freak athlete in college, and now at the next level, when everyone's a freak athlete, he doesn't stand out.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So it'll be interesting to see, and I'll probably have 0%, even if he. I mean, he's got to be down there with like Dallas Goedert and like.
He's one like I wasn't clicking that button even in the.
I wasn't either. I was loving George Kittle, who was going behind him.
Even in the Falcons stacks, I wasn't clicking that button. Like that's one of the hardest buttons to click in the draft, in my opinion. Yeah. I hate clicking that button.
Yeah, I do too. So I can't wait to see where his ADP is for the next season. All right. Tyler, one of the things we need to do, I'm gonna say Kyle, I don't even know where that came from, is admit when we're wrong. And my projections were terrible this week, Tyler. They were just terrible. And one of the biggest misses was I had the Eagles winning by 20 points. If Xavier Legette doesn't drop the ball, they almost lose. And I just want to point this out going into the Chiefs game. This happens to every good team. Every team that's 11-2 usually has some games where they quote unquote get lucky. So I want to point that out. But I mean, what happened to my projections here? And what do we do with the Eagles and the Panthers going forward?
I mean, they just couldn't move the ball out. I mean, I'll say they couldn't move the ball throwing it wise. Like Hurts looked terrible throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is better than people want to give him credit for. I know they only have 3 wins, but he's 4th in big time throws attempted in the league.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see it when he plays, Spread. Like this isn't the guy that was stumbling through last year and started this year. Like he actually looks like an NFL capable quarterback. He's putting the ball where it needs to be. Once his weapons improve and this team improves, like they're going to be good. It's just going to take a lot more than what they have. So, I mean, they're also not blocking your Raiders from getting your quarterback now. And when you go to mock drafts, the Raiders are picking first. So that's something you like to see.
Thank God.
Yeah. So now mock drafts, first overall, Shador Sanders to the Raiders. So spread's in a good place now.
Stop the count.
I mean, yeah. Carolina it's just still a project. I like the way Bryce looks now. And Philly, I just think it was one of those games where they just went through the motions.
That's the key part about the way sports are set up. Like I don't even want to watch Raiders games because I just want them to lose. So I don't even want to watch them.
Yeah.
All right. Anything more on the Eagles and the Panthers? Who's better, Jalen Hurts or Sam Darnold?
Throwing the ball, Sam Darnold.
Yes. Okay, that's all I need.
Player,
Thank you. Okay, that's
overall
fine.
football player, Jalen Hurts.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that because in today's NFL, where these offensive linemen aren't getting time to learn how to block, being able to move the ball and being able to execute that 3rd and 1 and that 4th and 1 is important. But I'm so happy. I feel like we're making progress here. I feel like a therapist, Tyler, and we're making progress getting through your Sam Darnold, PTSD, PTS Darnold. All right, Tyler.
I'm just gonna butter it up, and you're gonna be like, I'm just gonna let it build up until the end of the season. I'm gonna finally like give you credit for it, and then he's just gonna blow it all in the playoffs.
Well, my two guys that I like to argue with you about is Darnold and Nix, and we'll get to that one in a bit. All right, Tyler, I'm going to be right back. We'll break down what you saw to me in the Steelers' 27-14 win over the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, the score I don't think indicates much on this game. I know it wasn't close. It still was close to a 2-score win, 2 touchdowns, but the Steelers basically manhandled this Cleveland team for most of this game. Jameis couldn't move the ball. They couldn't run it. The Steelers, even without George Pickens, couldn't really move the ball throughout the air until the second half. It was an ugly game on both sides for the first half. Then they got Najee and Warren going. They got the ball moving with Patrick Freiermuth. Van Jefferson got some in there. And outside of that, I mean, the defense did what they had to do. Winston turns the ball over, throws a pick on a screen. That's just a Winston interception. A couple short fields, and then they were just able to convert field goals. You know how Boswell is spread. He just hits every field goal, regardless of the distance, and Steelers just pick up another win.
I have one question for you. Who's got a better chance of making a championship game this season? The Pittsburgh Steelers or the Minnesota Vikings?
I say the Steelers because I think there's more teams on the AFC side at the bottom that have a better chance to knock out the ones at the top. Because I'm only worried about the two teams above the Steelers. I'm only worried about the
Buffalo
Chiefs
and Kansas City.
That's the only two teams I think knock out Pittsburgh. Because me and Keg were talking about this last night too. I said, I don't think Pittsburgh has a realistic chance. I said, but when you look at it, there's a pathway that could open up where it's like, oh, they have to come through. I'm still calling it Heinz Field. They have to come through Heinz Field to make the Super Bowl. And that's going to be a tough pathway regardless of who has to come through. So Buffalo gets upset.
And Darnold had no success ever in the playoffs. I mean, Russell Wilson's won a Super Bowl and made a second Super Bowl. So it's not like we're going to see this huge last night. He's going to know how to prepare for the playoffs.
The Chargers lost that game on the last drive, and they were missing Will Dissly and Ladd McConkey. The Ravens always give the Chiefs problems, and they blew out the Bills. You're telling me the Ravens can't clear the path for Pittsburgh, and Lamar comes into Pittsburgh, and that's been his arch enemy his whole career, and he loses?
Yeah.
Like, there is a pathway there, so I say Pittsburgh over Minnesota.
All right, Tyler, we're going to keep this one quick. Jags beat the Titans 10-6. That was wonderful for me because it moved the Raiders into first place, but I have no other thoughts on that game. Do you?
I don't think I've seen a second of this game.
Fair enough. I don't think that you deserve to. The Buccaneers won 28-13. Another one that I don't really care about. Aiden O'Connell's out for the year. Great. That actually helps us more. Now Desmond Ridder is going to be our quarterback while we finish off this tank. And the Buccaneers moved to 7-6. They're now in first place in the NFC North, right? But other than that, like
they are up to the 4 seed. Because we talked about it too on recent shows about who's winning the NFC West, who's winning the NFC South. Sat here and talked about Seattle. Sat here and talked about Tampa Bay. We should have threw a parlay together spread. Seattle was 5-1. Tampa Bay was around that price too. Both in first place, and both look like they might run away with these. So,
well, I don't know about that, and we'll get to these NFC West games here after
the NFC West. But I mean, they're going to vulture each other. Everyone outside of Seattle now because Thursday night's the Rams and the 49ers. Someone's getting eliminated.
Yeah, I just wrote that up this morning. I actually didn't take a side. I just took the over because both teams are so inconsistent. It's just like, can I really like plant a flag and be like, yes, the Rams are going to win? I mean,
doesn't one coach always beat the other one in these games?
Probably. I'll look that up right now. The only thing I have to take away from the Saints and the Giants is that would have been nice if the Giants got the win, but they didn't in typical Giants fashion. I mean, did you have any takeaways from that one?
I burned $20 on the Giants at like plus 600 before they got the ball back on that last drive. And I
Bro,
knew
I think that was a good play at plus 600. It was right
but
there.
it was one of those one spread where you looked at it on the screen and said, "Man, this is gonna suck. Why am I doing this?" And you click the button, and then you turned and watched the screen, and it was just like, "Yeah, that was a bad idea the entire time." But I mean, they missed the field goal. It's the Giants' way to lose. It's the Giants spreading the Saints. Derek Carr tried to impersonate Taysom Hill and broke his entire arm. So
okay, so going into this year, the 49ers had beat the Rams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 10 games.
Yeah,
but the Rams have won. They beat them last year, and then they beat them to start the year. So that trend might be over. Okay. Dolphins, Jets. Any takeaways? I mean, we're going to be quick today. I mean, what do we talk about?
I mean, Rodgers looked good. He threw for 300. I wonder what the same game parlay paid of all 4 receivers in that game to have 100 yards because they all did clear that mark.
Yeah.
Two and those guys look good on offense also. So, I mean, it was a close game, divisional game. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play himself into another year of football for the Jets because if he keeps playing like this, you have no choice but to bring him back.
He's under contract too, and you can't trade him. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
I mean, home?
First 300-yard game, I think, since 2021, they said.
Yeah.
Close
All right.
game.
Well, I don't really have a lot from that. I mean, the Dolphins can't really make the playoffs, right? It's 6 and 7.
Here, hold on. I had the playoff picture pulled up. Let me get back to that tab. They have a 14% chance. Okay. They are 9th.
Well, if they give about 25% next week, we'll talk about them more. But other than that, I mean,
the Colts are at 26%. They're at 8%, and the Broncos are sitting at 76%.
Okay.
So unless
the Dolphins move up 28%, we'll do a deeper dive. But other than that, I mean, they can't beat a team with a winning record. Like, who cares? Like, wow, you beat the Jets. Great job, Mike McDaniels, or whatever his name is.
I heard a stat. Tua's undefeated against the Patriots and the Jets, but he's only beat the Bills once, or he hasn't beat them yet. I can't remember what the exact numbers on the Bills.
Yeah. Oh, makes sense. All right. The only one that we got right on the sheet yesterday was the Seattle Seahawks. And I mean, Kyler's got a lot of talent and he's going to put up good numbers, but I just don't trust this guy in big games. And he put his team in too big a hole. And when you're going against a team like Seattle that really wants to run the ball, you can't do that. My guy, Jack Charbonnet, what do you think of that, Tyler? Do you remember our argument about Charbonnet? 22
he
for
did look good in this game.
134 and 2 touchdowns. What a great player.
He had 59 through the air too, so
yeah,
he played a great game. I mean, Cardinals defense is not good, and there's not a good team. Let's go. This is my fun thing to do every week when the Cardinals play spread. Mm-hmm. Marvin Harrison, 4 catches, 49 yards, bomb.
Well, let's see. Maybe he can get better. But yeah. It looks like I would much rather have Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., even Rome Odunze over him at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. The Seahawks, though, I still don't believe in them in the playoffs.
I would take Ladd McConkey over Marvin Harrison Jr. right now.
I mean, he's had a much better season. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's that hot a take. The Seahawks, I still don't believe in this team in the playoffs, though.
I think they could steal a game.
Well, because they should get a home game in the first round.
It's going to be a home game in Seattle. We know how it is to play in Seattle. Their defense,
but it could be against someone really good like Green Bay or Minnesota or
their defense,
even Washington.
Their defense at home, when healthy, is going to be a problem spread.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right.
If they're the one that Minnesota has to play in round 1, I'll be on Seattle.
Yeah, and I might have to, as much as I've been trying to weigh these Darnold
outdoors in that kind of place where it's going to be loud. He makes a mistake, they're going to get that place rocking. Yeah, I'd be on Seattle on that one.
All right. Well, we will see how that turns out, but at least that team is worth talking about. I don't believe in Kyler, and it just continues to show. Like in the big games and these November and December games, he just always seems to will. Another one of my projections let me down, Tyler. I had the Buffalo Bills winning by 9. Was this just the classic letdown spot?
I think it was. I mean, we talked about it when you were like, should we play the Bills on the show last week? I said, I really don't want to. I feel like they should win the game, but they clinched the division.
Yeah, that was my fault.
They probably
a 9-point edge in the NFL is absurd.
They clinched the division. They probably knew in the back of their heads, as much as they thought they could catch the Chiefs, that they weren't going to catch the Chiefs. So losing this game really didn't do anything to them. So I think it was just that classic letdown spot. They can't stop the run, though, Spread. That is their weakness, is the run. So I think Baltimore could do us a huge favor in round 1.
Yeah. Buffalo. So, I mean, that's just the new NFL, though, with the salary cap. There's no such thing as a perfect team. Every team has weaknesses, and we'll see if Buffalo is able to overcome theirs and make their first Super Bowl ever.
When Josh Allen plays like that on the other side, you better be ready to put up 40 plus to beat him.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's pretty much sealed his MVP case yesterday, right?
I want to say yes, but what happens if, because they played Detroit this week, Spread. If he beats Detroit, he's minus 1,000. It's over. Seal it up, engrave his name on the trophy. It's done. What happens if Goff throws for 4 touchdowns against Buffalo and they blow them out?
I just can't be any person that watches football seeing Josh Allen carry that team and watching Jared Goff.
No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Like flip the teams, and Detroit is probably minus 1,000.
Yeah, and Buffalo's picking first overall.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but they're like down there with the Jets and the Dolphins, right? I mean, they're not even the playoff hunt. So
yeah, but like if Josh Allen and the Bills do peter out the end of the year, like, are they just going to hand it to Saquon? Like, I'm not 100% sold on that.
The only way it would be if Saquon breaks that Dickerson record. Maybe, but like
it just feels like then right behind Saquon is Lamar. Lamar's not getting number 3. Then it's Goff.
Lamar deserves it this year. Do you?
You said what?
I don't think he deserves it this year. Do you?
No, but I'm going in the order of the odds, and then it's Jared Goff at 17-1.
Yeah.
So I think if Detroit would beat Buffalo in a blowout manner this week, and Goff does it through the air, I think he comes down to like 5-1, and he's right back in that. And Josh Allen's like even money to plus 150. Barkley's 3-1.
It's either Barkley or Allen at this point. They can't give to Jared Goff.
I'll tell you, hey, he might be 33-1. You're telling me Mahomes ain't a 403-4 touchdown game away from them flying him back up this board?
I'm fine with Mahomes, though. He's another one. I mean, he's carrying his team.
You're telling me a Christmas Day beatdown of the Steelers defense wouldn't win that man MVP?
No, I want to count Mahomes out. I Jared Goff. I mean, come on. All right,
I'm half tempted to take a piece of Mahomes at 33-1.
I don't hate it. I know our guy Whale Capper has a lot of Mahomes. The 49ers. I mean, so that Bills pick I kind of regret. Should have seen the letdown spot coming. I think I would play this game again and just whatever. Like, we didn't get the new coach bump, but I mean, I'm gonna play that new coach trend.
Do this one again. I'm glad you left me in charge of the sheet for this week's spread because I ended up leaving this one off.
Well, that's why I'm very smart. Sometimes I'm smarter than I look.
I had a coming to God moment with this one where I thought about it for a minute, and it was like the 49ers have played down for the last couple of weeks with all their guys out. We wanted to give Chicago the new coach bump, but this dude got the OC job a couple of weeks ago, and they had the little bump against Green Bay, and they couldn't get the win. He was already in the building. Was he going to get an extra coach bump just because he moved up an extra spot? You know what I mean? Like, the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't think it's there. And then I backed off, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad. San Fran.
I'll take the L there. I mean, my idea is if Nick Bosa and Trent Williams are out, I'm just going to fade the 49ers to oblivion, and it didn't work for me here this week. But we'll check their status for next week because I'll probably go back to it if they're both rolled out.
Also, like everyone wanted to say this was like a 10-win team, that they were going to just be good because they drafted Caleb, got Keenan Allen, and they get picked up Rome. This team isn't good. They had a good secondary, but the secondary quit after that Washington Hail Mary. They don't really have much.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a terrible organization, so I feel bad for Bears fans. I feel bad for Caleb, too. I think he's in a no-win situation. Why?
I'm not a fan.
Why? Just because he paints his nails? It's 2024, Tyler. Your generation's supposed to be down with that.
I was never a fan of Caleb.
All right.
He took my guy the Rats job at Oklahoma.
Rat, you love Spencer Rattler. You and his mom are the only two Spencer Rattler fans in the world.
No, that was a complete joke. The Rattler part, because Rattler sucked at Oklahoma.
He sucked everywhere. All right, the Chiefs get another. Do you want to talk about it?
Tell me this game. Tell me
right?
this game didn't play out exactly how like everyone would expect the Chiefs game to play.
Yeah, that's why I said take the points and you take the +4 and bet the Chiefs money line. Like it was just so obvious.
Yeah, like they just know how to win. That's literally what they do. I swear this is like their way of practicing. Like Chris Jones even said it after the game. He goes, "We know in the playoffs these are going to be close games, so we want to be conditioned to win close games." Yeah. I legit think that they do this on purpose now, spread. That they're
I don't know if they do this on purpose, but I do think that we talked about it last week with JC. They don't run their best plays until they need to.
No, like you're telling me that a team that was missing their wide receiver one, their RB1 was already out coming into this game. They lose their tight end, who's the next best target, and they still keep it within 3. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the Chiefs are like, we know at any moment we can go down and get points. Let's just let them hang around. We'll keep this close, and then we'll do a drive at the end of the game. That's where we get our practice in.
I mean, I'm sure they'd put up 48 every week if they could. I mean, we talk about.
I don't. The more I look at it, I don't think they're that type of teams. I think they know, like in their head, they know we of course we could put up 40 every week.
I don't think they can.
Could we do what Detroit does? Yes, I think we could with the way Mahomes is.
Like that DJ Humphreys, dude, is not that much of an upgrade. They still have problems on their offensive line.
I legit think if they wanted to score, they would just open it up more. They'd be like, the receivers are going vertical. We're letting Mahomes just air this thing out, and we're going to score points. But I think they're content with just winning games. And at any moment, if they had to in the playoffs, they will pull that card and go, here, you're off the leash, kid. Air it out. So I think this team just goes through the motions till the playoffs.
I mean, we talk about every top team having flaws, and I think this team's flaws are on the offensive line. And the one year that they lost, it was because of offensive line. The Bills can't stop the run.
Yeah, but that year was also because they lost, I think, 3 starters in the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl.
Right. But they lost a starter, and then they went down to that second-string dude, right? And now they're on a guy that came off the street, so it's just happening a little bit earlier.
I mean, we shall see, but
I still, if you said I'm taking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, I'm not against you. But
the thing about this year compared to that year, go on the NFC side and find me the defense that's going to do what Tampa Bay did to them that year.
Philadelphia.
That might be the only one.
Well, it only takes one.
And Philadelphia looked like they couldn't throw a football forward yesterday. So good luck winning the games in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl.
No, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you said you're taking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, I'm not arguing with you. I'm
not doing what I did last year.
Every team's vulnerable.
I'm not doing what I did last year where we did the playoff show and I went, I'm going to bet the Chiefs in round 1 because they're at home versus Miami. But then I'm just going to stay away from the rest of the playoffs because I don't trust them. And then they win, and then they win. Then they get to the Super Bowl, and it's like, yep, here we are again, and they win again.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, let's talk about tonight's game. The Cincinnati Bengals head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The total's 50. Cowboys actually taking a little money. When I wrote this up for Nuke the House, I laid 5.5. I see a +5 on the board right now, which I guess is fine. It's an old adage, right? Old guys like me do it. Two bad teams, just take the points. My argument, though, is Cincinnati really a bad team or just a bad defense? And I think they're just a bad defense. They've had elite offensive production so far. So when I'm looking at laying point spreads like the -5, I want an elite offense, right? I don't want to lay 5 with the Chargers, right, who we know are a defense run first team. I want to lay it with the team that's going to air it out and potentially really put some distance, especially in that first half between them and their competition. So I like Cincinnati here. We talked about teams not being able to stop the run. I think Dallas fits that criteria. I'd expect a big game from both Chases, Jamar Chase and Chase Brown. I don't know, man. I can't make an argument for Cowboys, especially coming off a win. I think it's a perfect letdown spot. So
I like the Bengals here. I like them minus the points. I think Chase Brown is a big game. They could have the game through the air also.
Yeah.
They legit are the Miami Dolphins right now, spread. Outside of week 1, where they lost to New England, they've beat every losing record team and lost to all the winning records.
Yeah.
Now they're going to play Dallas, and Dallas' defense isn't good. And Chase Brown's just been the only workhorse in the entire NFL this year. I think he goes over 100. I think he gets a touchdown. I think they cover. I think they win by at least a touchdown. Like, maybe I look for some of these rushing specials on Chase Brown. Like, let's see what they are on FanDuel right now. Like, we could get Chase Brown to record 50 rushing yards in each half plus 650. I don't hate that. Chase Brown to record 20 rushing yards in each quarter, 16-1. Like, those are some big numbers, but it's going to be a game he just absolutely dominates. So I'm on the Bengals and I'm on Chase Brown.
Yeah, well, we're in complete agreement. So for those who tuned in to argue, rewind it a little bit. Anything else for the people, Tyler?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much it.
Have you looked ahead to next week yet?
Looking ahead to next week. I mean, there's Thursday night. San Fran's favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I like the over there. That's the only one I did work on so far.
Lean towards the over, but I might end up on the Rams there. We shall see. I like Washington off their bye -7.5 in New Orleans because who is playing quarterback for the Saints? Jake Haener. Good luck. Let's see. Houston's -2.5 versus the Dolphins. Don't hate that. Browns are +5.5 versus the Chiefs spread. What do you like there? Browns money line.
Points.
Browns money line.
Oh, don't take the money line. Didn't we just say they always win these games?
No.
Don't take the Browns money line.
They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose this game to Jameis Winston.
Oh my God! All right, let's see if you still feel that way tomorrow. Wait, we're on Monday Night Football this week.
Yeah. Oh my God! Look at that game. There's 2 games on Monday night.
That Desmond Ritter revenge game. Man, I can't believe we're only catching 4.5. I want to fade the Colts outdoors, but 4 might be too much for the Broncos there. Lions and Bills, give me Buffalo to bounce back. I mean, these aren't official, guys. This is just my original thoughts. Cardinals, Patriots, I don't got anything there.
Like
Steelers, Eagles.
Back in the dome.
Steelers, Eagles. Give me the +5.
Yeah, I could agree there.
Yeah. All right, Chargers, Bucks. I like the Chargers to bounce back. Cool. Well, this will be a fun show tomorrow.
Yep.
Should be a real fun show tomorrow. So, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Tyler, final thoughts before we get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a rough week. I think the sheet went 1-1. I think I only ended up with 2 plays up there.
Thank God, because all the plays that I added that you disagreed with were trash.
Yeah, the projections didn't do well, but we shall bounce back because we are still plus money this year, spread.